Exchange, where we exchange compelling dialogue around love, politics, and intellect every Thursday from 11 to 1. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today's topic is Behind the Glam and Glory, Truths of the Entrepreneurial Climb. So this is going to be all about how we make that climb, and it doesn't have to just be for formal entrepreneurs. This can be for people who just have a dream that they're pursuing. So we have to expand our understanding of what entrepreneurship is, and we are open to all walks of life. If your entrepreneur endeavor is being a stay-at-home father or a stay-at-home mother, whatever it is, we want you to be able to do that well. So behind the glam and glory, there are ugly tears, self-doubt, and fear, but there's also strength, power, and purpose, and it's this combination that helps us rise to the top. So when no one shows up to your events, when they don't want to pay your full fee, when you're scraping pennies just to make ends meet, and you begin to wonder why the heck you're doing this in the first place, you want to listen to this show. If you're pushing toward a dream, you may have noticed that the journey is not always easy. Every bump, every hurdle, and every small success is grooming you for what's to come. So what does it take to push through these challenges? This week, today, I am joined by two entrepreneurial experts, Dr. Taunya Lowe of the Riot Starter Nation and the Resurgent group of Metro Atlanta, and Mr. E.D. Cole of Dean Cole Financial. We'll discuss how they overcame their own obstacles and the words of wisdom that they have for others. So it is a perfect day to have these two guests on. In light of the election and the results, there is still something we can do. We still have the power. We still have the capacity to make change and do what we have to do. So as always, we'll get into some trending topics, research, and of course, my weekly balance challenge. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back on the Live Exchange.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it, and it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He guides us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
Great leaders aren't born, they're made. And not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Vince Lombardi once said that it's hard to be aggressive when you're confused. Some of us think that taking our lives to the next level, both personally and professionally, is a confusing and complicated process. Guess what? It's not, and I can prove it. My book, Truisms, will show you how living your life by rules that are so self-evident and obvious, you'll say, I knew that. This powerful yet short, detailed bestseller is on sale right now, under $10. Go to michaelmcfadden.com. That's michaelmcfadden.com, and let Truisms help you to the next level.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch. Or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie. But Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
George, y'all need anything else?
Sensation Station Network.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and today we are talking about what is behind the glam and glory of starting a business or an entrepreneurship venture, or heck, whatever dream that you have. Some people don't always recognize their dreams as an entrepreneurial pursuit, but it all can fall under that category. So I want to open. I'm working on a book called what is it called? The Secret Life of an Obsessed Entrepreneur. And the idea is there's so much behind being an entrepreneur that we don't necessarily always see. So I'm just going to read an excerpt from that. Every now and then, I read a flowery quote like, "Love begets love." And depending on my mood, I either embrace the words, post them to my mirror and my social media pages, and dance to the soothing melody of its inspiring message. Love begets love, right? Or I hurl tomatoes at it and strip it to shreds and scoff at the ignorance of such an idealistic statement. And when I do my scoffing, I feel fully entitled to do so because I know love. I know what it means to bleed over something that I'm passionate about. And on these days when I see the benefits of that love, I'm overjoyed. Life is good, but on days when benefits are nowhere to be found, I'm left high and dry, and that love begets crap. That can meet me in the alley somewhere. I have days like this, moments like this, endeavors like this, relationships like this, where I pour all my love, hope, hard work, and strength into something, and what I seem to beget is everything but love. My sacrifices seem to instead beget jealousy, rejection, financial strain, and isolation. That doesn't sound all that heartwarming, does it?
Wow. Well, that's
I'm excited. Good. But that's what's behind the veil, and it's It may look real pretty on the outside with a nice bow, but it's not always like that.
It's not always like that at all.
No. So, but I want to introduce my guest. So I have here sitting to my right, Dr. Taunya Lowe. And she is it the president, the founder of the Resurgent group?
Dr. Pam.
She's everything. Of the Resurgent group.
The janitor, the bus driver.
Right, and that's the behind the scenes stuff that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And also of the Riot Starter Nation.
Yes, the founder of the Riot Starter movement.
Yes.
The CEO of the
Resurgent group.
There you go.
We got a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, yes, I love it. And then, and here to my left is E. Dean Cole, who is president and CEO, correct? CEO of Cole Financial. Dean Cole Financial. Yes, yes. And so I'd like to welcome you both to the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
No problem. You both have such a wealth of information to provide for everybody, and I think we need a little bit of also some inspiration and encouragement because, you know, based on the results of the election yesterday, we all saw our news feeds looked a little depressing yesterday, and the two of you just so happen, and this is just a coincidence, just so happen to be particularly uplifting. Like, you know what, y'all, we got businesses to run, we got things to do.
Yes.
So I would love to hear, and I saw each of your posts yesterday. You were at a training or a conference doing your thing, and you're like, it's a good day because look at this dress I have on.
Yes,
And Dean said, look, we got a president who's all about business, y'all, so let's do our business thing. So I would love to hear both of your points of view about how you received yesterday's news and what you recommend to do with it.
Well, you know, honestly, Dr. Pam, it's not what I wanted, but I'm going to go on in spite of. It's the president, whoever it is not going to come to my house and make any specific changes in my life. I have to make those changes in my life. Right. And so, no, it's not what I wanted, but I create the life that I want, regardless. And to be honest with you, and I was just having this conversation in my drive here, when I think about it, yes, we all love President Obama, but when I get really real about it, what has he done for me personally? Nothing. And so, yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow, but we have to go on. So I refused to be in grieving and all of that. No, yesterday was a great day because I was here. I had an opportunity to pour into people. I had an opportunity to teach people how to start their riots so that they can create a life that they want for themselves. So I don't have time to wally in the woe is me.
Yeah.
That my blood pressure won't handle it. When my blood pressure is set up,
right.
It can't handle it.
It'll work that way. Yes.
That's funny.
How about you, Dean?
My take on it was, if I can be candid, one thing about me, and you were actually at one of my events.
I was.
So you know I'm extremely transparent and very candid.
Yes.
So if I can be candid, the post that you saw was not the original post that I wanted to write, but I had to come to myself before I wrote my post. If I can be honest and true, I was very upset. I was hurt. I was frustrated. Not because I wanted Hillary to be the president so much so, but it was because of the blaring racism that was profound in the election, as well as this is the biggest wake-up call that I think we should have for a nation. And I don't believe it is specific on your nationality or your gender. I mean, the quote-unquote president-elect, Donald Trump, is an astute businessman, but he's also very egotistical, very much so misogynistic, and he has a lot of old traditional views that does not reflect the economy and the landscape of the United States of America. So that is what made me so upset and frustrated. I'm going to make money regardless, like you mentioned, because it does not matter whether it's President Obama or whether it's Michelle Obama that runs in 2020 or whomever that might run. It does not matter because I am the creator of my life, like you were saying, Doctor, and I think that this is the biggest wake-up call because we have a false sense of security. A lot of us had a false sense of security under the Obama administration and under the illusion of an African-American president saying that the economy, or not the economy, that the nation wasn't so racially divided. However, this with the Tea Party and now Donald Trump, you just have to wake up. You can't stay asleep anymore.
Yeah, we can't. Well, and with that said, we're going to go ahead and get into our trending topics.
Primary election.
Lack of diversity.
Gas prices.
Michael Black's trending topics.
Okay, so obviously, I mean, what's the trending topic? Election, yes. I can't even put those two words in the same sentence yet. I just can't do it yet. So I don't know when that's going to be able to happen. But yes, that the election, the results of the election, and you know, I have to be honest. In my when I woke up in the morning, I went to bed early, and I never go to bed early. Everybody who knows me knows I'm up till 2, 3 in the morning working and everything. I went to bed at about 10:30, and when I woke up, I did not do what I always do, which is to roll over and look at the social media and what's going on. I didn't do that. I don't want to know. I want to savor the last few minutes of not knowing that I could. And so I did not know until my daughter walked into my room with a very sad face. She's 9. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she told me. She said, "Well, Hillary Clinton lost." And she was very sad about that. And so I instantly had to go into mother mode, because her mindset was, it's over, the world is going to, and she's hearing all of this dialogue. And I had to instantly turn into hope. No, this is not what's going to happen. And empowerment. No, we are going to be fine, and we are this, and and so I translated that over to Facebook and to some of the friends that I have, and that didn't really go over very well. I know people didn't want to hear that. And so and I get it. People want empathy, and they want to have their period of mourning. And in the same way, I have my wants too, and my wants is to move forward positively. I didn't even get into the trending topic. So what I was going to say really quickly is that, in my frustration with the way people responded, it became very clear to me. This article came up, and I posted it today, that said it is not melodramatic to mourn or to be fearful of the results of the election. And I have to respect that. I have to respect that there are some legitimate reasons for people being fearful, for people being afraid. And my recommendation is to not let that fear run you, not let that fear. And so when we come back, I'll just give you a little bit of what this article says, and then we can talk about that. We'll be right back.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He guide us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
What's up, sis?
Nothing. Just sitting here reading about HIV in Atlanta and its surrounding areas. Did you know we're number 8 in the nation?
I know.
You need to get tested.
Nah, I don't get down like that. I'm good.
But you are a ladies' man. You don't know who they're with when they're not with you.
If I need to get tested, so do you.
No, I don't. I'm married.
True, but you don't know who he's with when he's not with you.
Oh, you got jokes. He's not like that.
Fact is, no one really knows what their partner is doing or who their partner is with when they're away.
Well, I'll get tested if you get tested.
Cool. Where can we go?
This article I'm reading says the Lifeline Project of CSB does free HIV testing. Let's go there.
Lifeline Project, here we come.
The Lifeline Project is a SAMHSA grant. For more information on free testing, please call 770-499-2422 or visit us on the web at www.cobcsb.com.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumb down.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and I am seeing y'all are like lively on Facebook today. I'm going to try to keep up with what you're saying.
Hey, Facebook.
What? Brooklyn agreed with something we said. He loves to debate. He's kind of a contrarian.
Okay.
Yes, I said that about you. But yeah, and so what I wanted to point out was in the Huffington Post this morning. Excellent article, and it really made me open my eyes because, like I said, and like we just talked about a little bit during the break, is part of my frustration is, y'all, this stuff is not new. Like, us living in a racist, bigoted nation is not new. And so all of the fallout and all of the frustration and the fear kind of jarred me because I thought, wait, you guys, this is the same country we were in 5 weeks ago, 5 months ago. This is not different than what we've already been dealing with. The hate crimes that happened yesterday are the same hate crimes that I've had college students come to me with when I was working at Marquette and other places. But this article kind of put me in check. Okay. And it basically says that the mourning and the fear that everybody is experiencing is not just melodramatic, but that this is real and that we need to address it. And so what it made me do is say, okay, you know what? I'm going to appreciate that people are waking up. If this is what it took for people to wake up, then I'm going to not be frustrated by the fact that it's just happening and just appreciate that people are waking up.
Well, Dr. Pam, I think it's, okay, I'm glad that you're awake now, but what are you going to do? I'm all about action. I'm all about execution. I'm all about starting your riot. Now that you're awake and you're so angry, what are you going to do with it? Or are you just going to sit back and let this pass? So I want to challenge people to take action.
Take action.
Do something.
And I think, if I can interject, I think taking action is very good. We must do something. But I think the true power is going to be able to react and not respond.
Yes.
Because the response is to get into your feelings. The response is to become very defensive. The response is to wallow. But if you don't respond, but you react means that you give the proper equal energy. So the proper equal energy would be to get yourself together, like what we're going to talk about entrepreneurship and being self-sufficient and coming together as a nation so that no one can do the things that Trump has threatened that he would do to us.
Right. So. Well, and one of the things that I pointed out yesterday is we are more educated than ever before. We are in larger number than ever before. We are a bigger group than ever before because it's not just black people now. And not that other people didn't protest and with us, but what I'm saying is that we've got other large groups of people who are being oppressed as well, who are being marginalized as well. Bring it all together, and people are literally starting riots, literally, and
not my riots,
not your riots, but that's great. Yeah. But we, as you all are saying, need to take it a step further and let's be strategic.
Yes.
Some of the things that are happening, and actually this says 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, the writer of this article met her friends in a bar in Manhattan. And she arrived a few minutes late. And what happened was 2 white men in baseball caps chased her, and one held a lighter to her and said, "I hope you burn, Arab." And this was 3 weeks ago, y'all. So this is not just, and this is stuff that, like I said, has happened over time. Another person talks about the fear that she has over Planned Parenthood being dismantled. She felt a lump in her breast, and it was at Planned Parenthood that she was able to get the care that she needed for that. And another person talks about 25 trans people have been murdered in 2016 alone. And so this is stuff that is reaching across different demographics of people.
Right.
And so we really have to. So it really checked me and said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to step off of my soapbox, and I'm going to just listen to what's being said because listening can help us devise a plan for how we can move forward. So it looks like we have to get into some research.
In the interest of science.
Okay, so the science that we're going to talk about right now is a theory, and it's called racial battle fatigue. Have either of you heard of racial battle fatigue? Okay, so it's a form of trauma, and it basically it's let me start with this. It's a theory attributed to the psychological attrition that people of color experience from daily battle of deflecting racialized insults, stereotypes, and discrimination. So it's that it culminates all of the experiences that we have, and then finally you're just tired. You just can't. You just can't. You know, the expression I can't right. You know, and that's what it is. And so and it's exacerbated by microaggressions that we may deal with on a daily basis, whether in our professional world, with our, you know, social contacts. Examples being subtle verbal and nonverbal insults directed at people of color, layered insults based on race, gender, sexuality, language, and so forth, and cumulative insults which cause unnecessary stress to people of color. So things like, well, you're not like the other Mexicans. What does that imply? Yeah, you know,
a backhanded compliment.
Yes, exactly.
Right. You know, you don't look African American. You speak English without an accent,
or you're so articulate.
You're so articulate.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
So these things compounded over time is what can lead to racial battle fatigue. Now, those are the microaggressions. But then there's those macroaggressions. Then there's the police brutality cases, the being called an N-word to your face. And, you know, so the combination of that and the microaggressions are those things that you can't just say, he did that to me because it's so subtle. Like, you can't report that somebody said at work that you're not like the other Mexicans, and they're not going to necessarily get reprimanded. They may say, well, they didn't mean anything by it. So I promise after the commercial break I'm not going to talk so much. And so we're going to come back, and we're going to actually let Dr. Lowe and Dean Cole speak. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Terry Crews, actor, former football player, and father of 5. I'm also an expert on drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids, and there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
And lead the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
Listen, as a hiring manager, I've got to tell you, the best job candidate isn't always the typical candidate. Sometimes they're a grad of life.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Sometimes the best candidates aren't the ones you're used to.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
If you're looking for that ratchet, you're in the wrong place. It's the nation's urban internet station, Sensation Station Network.
Hey, Teddy, why is investing important?
Most people have goals that they're trying to reach in life that has something to do with growing their assets. That's a problem that we have in our community because we don't take enough risk to actually grow our assets to meet our expectations.
So how does Parish Capital help me?
I see myself as a world-class investor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm here to bring a transparent, low-fee strategy so people understand what they're getting into when they invest. $1 today is not worth the same as $1 tomorrow. You can go to my website at parishcapital.com or call us at 800-618-1940.
Invest your money.
Ignore the noise, stay focused, and prosperity be unto you.
Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and we are talking about what is behind the glam and glory of entrepreneurship, and with the backdrop of this this election that's happened. So we just talked about racial battle fatigue, and that's just the idea that after time, it just chips away at us. Right. Do you have any thoughts about that or experiences?
Yes, it's interesting that both of the topics actually coincide in my experience. I never had a name for it, so it's good to be able to put a name on it. But I think that in corporate America, a lot of that happens.
Yes.
A lot of it happens, and that is some of the things that has helped me to become entrepreneurial, to pursue my dreams and my goals. Because the reality is, it's a hard-hitting reality. But either you're going to work to make your own dreams come true, or you're going to work for somebody else to make their dreams come true. So those are the only two choices you have. And with that, the battle fatigue, it helped me to embrace the fear and jump out on faith and make it happen. So
yeah. I think that I was just having this conversation with a good friend yesterday on my drive back to Atlanta. I think as African Americans, as minorities, we are prepared for this fatigue at a young age. You know, you got to be better, you got to be stronger, you got to work harder. And so when you notice the subtleties in the workplace, you recognize them and you feel the scars of them, but you have to keep going. Right. You have to keep going. So I hear people say, well, they said this and they said that, and I'm like, okay, so let's talk about what can we really do about it.
Right.
What can we really do about it? We have to take ownership and know that it's the world that we live in. And pray that one day, and have the hope that it can change. Yeah. But we have to do things like start our own businesses, be models for other people, and continue to plant those seeds in our children and our communities. That yes, go and be all you can be. Right. Because you are going to feel these wounds.
They will happen. Yeah.
They're going to happen.
Yeah. And that whole idea of having the hope that things can change is really the motivator for even pursuing your dreams or having. I mean, if you don't believe anything can change, then you're going to sit on your hands and say, well, I guess I ain't got nothing to contribute. Right. Right. So it's really important to have. I know people hate hope, and hope isn't just some fluffy word. I mean, there's actually research.
If we don't have hope,
what it is,
we have.
Yeah. I mean,
hope deferred makes the heart grow sick. It's very true.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. So there is. It's so important to not lose hope and to not get discouraged, because it will hinder our, willingness to move forward. I don't even want to say our ability to move forward, but our willingness, to move forward. So the whole basis of the show is it's based on a Facebook post that I saw recently, and I thought, oh, this is so good, we've got to talk about this. And so it's by Asa Lowe, and the question is, oh, you do?
I do.
Oh, I have to get Asa connected with me. So you really want to be an entrepreneur, and let me tell you what you may experience. And I'm just going to go down the list, and then I would love to come back to these and kind of look at the ones that are most relevant. To me, every last one of them is relevant. Speaking to a crowd of two. Feeling like a fraud.
Imposter
syndrome, yes. That's the theory I should have brought forth today. Being told by someone you love that your business ain't nothing. Being served an eviction notice before you take the stage. Meaning, you know what? We actually have another speaker. We're going to go ahead and we don't have time for you. That's happened to me once. I was on this list with all these celebrities. I was like, yes! And then I was about to get on. They said, actually, we've had to rearrange it. I was like, no! But I'm still on that flyer. Having people in your family call you greedy. Paying dues in places with people you wish harm, with people who wish you harm. Robbing Peter to pay Paul while Philip is calling for his money too. Having people say what you do can easily be duplicated, and then silently doing that as they say that. Leaving a book signing with the same books you came in with. Living on grace because that's all you can afford. So I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all just have at it. What do you think? Any of these jump out at you?
A couple. A couple. When I think about entrepreneurship, it can be a lonely place.
Yes,
it can be a lonely place, and it can also be a place where you're judged because you're not succeeding the way they want to see you succeed.
Right.
And you can also be judged by doing well. And so, I can relate to some of those things. Yeah.
So what's going on with me that I can relate to every last one?
I can relate to him as well.
I'm like,
I can relate to him as well. I think now the eviction before the engagement.
That hasn't happened.
Well, no. It was a real eviction, not an eviction before the engagement. As in, they don't want me to speak as an eviction of, hey, we're about to come and pick up the car if you don't make this payment, and I'm about to go. And this happened to me. This was so interesting. This happened to me, I think, when I was about to be interviewed on one of the largest platforms I've ever been interviewed on before, in front of millions. And as I'm driving to the television station, then I got that phone call, and I was like, oh, man. And it was a robbing Peter to pay Paul type of situation. It was, I had it, but I don't want to spend it, so I tried to stretch it out as much as I could. But, yeah, so... It was yes. I had experience. To say the least.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And that's. I'm gonna hold my thought until we do, because we have the balance challenge, and then we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
So this week's balance challenge is. I want you, and this is my challenge to you for this week, okay? And this challenge can extend out for as long as you need it to. But choose one small move that you can make this week to advance your dream. The big picture may seem overwhelming at times. I was having a conversation with somebody this week who wants to start a business, and the big picture that she had has kept her stagnant for years, because she's like, that's just a lot. So I am challenging you to pick one small thing that you can do. When we pull back and consider that one small thing we can do, we can be amazed by the impact that one small thing may have on your confidence, on the growing of your business, and the connections you can make. So some ideas, maybe come up with a service that you can offer and focus on that for the next 4 weeks, whatever that service is. Maybe it's a $25 consultation. I will give you a consultation, sign into my website, $25, one-on-one for an hour or whatever. Not an hour, maybe 15 minutes. A listing on eBay, maybe, depending on what it is that you do. Put it up on eBay. Facebook has a marketplace now. A blog or a Facebook Live post or an Instagram feed that you decide, I'm going to do this every Thursday. Every Thursday, I'm going to log in at noon, and I'm going to do my Thursday thoughts, or whatever it is. Commit to doing that, and that's one small thing. And so think about what's one small thing that you can do to advance your dream starting this week. And do you all have any recommendations or tips that you can give somebody?
The best recommendation I would give, especially for the young lady, is she should enroll into my coaching program. Because we have a coaching program that's set aside specifically for people that are starting up.
Okay.
And it's very action oriented, like we talked about, but not just responding, but actually reacting the right way. But things that you would do, like get your LLC. Things like that.
Right.
Or
and that's so easy to
register
do.
your domain name.
Yeah.
Something that's small, but what it does is it's gratifying. And once you have that possession of ownership, it feeds you when things look lean.
Right.
You can draw back from those experiences of what you had. So that's what it's different things like that, a lot of different things.
Right.
So.
No, that's great. That's great.
I always tell people to do some research around what it is you want to do. So many times we want to jump into stuff, and we've not done our homework.
So important.
We've not connected with people. We don't know anyone else who does it, and then we use that as an excuse. So take some time and do some research. You meet some people, set up some learning lunches to find out so that you can move forward by taking those small steps. And then get support. Get a coach, get a mentor, work with a consultant. You can get there sooner, quicker, faster. You don't have to do it by yourself. And so I think about my investment over the years in my business, so that things that I wish I had learned sooner, and like you say, we get the money, we want to hold on to it. Right. But when you're holding on, your hand is closed.
Yeah.
But when you open it up, amazingly how things come to you.
Right.
But it's a mindset.
Well, what are some of the things that you wish you had known earlier?
Oh my God, Dr. Pam! I mean, just this year alone, I made two. We talked about this, two high investments, and we think that the stuff that we do around social media and Facebook, if we're doing something, but there's a strategy to all of that stuff. And so once I invested in a marketing coach who taught me the strategy, not here's the stuff, go read it on your own, because I'm at a level in my business now where I need you to I don't need a coach, I need you to tell me what to do. And so
there are those stages. You have to recognize that.
Yeah, that's what I said, the stage where I am. I'm 10 years in.
Right.
And so there's a strategy to social media. There's a strategy to how you, to engagement. And so, whereas I've always been involved in social media, once I got the formula,
Right.
Then I saw it coming together. That's what it took. But we don't know what we don't know. And that's why it's so important to get into a community, talk to people that look different from you, talk to people that are 5-10 paces ahead of you, that are really ahead of you, not Facebook ahead of you, but that are really 5-10-15 paces ahead of you, so that you can truly learn from them. So the first thing I'm going to say is the marketing, really understanding how to do marketing. My business isn't speaking, my business is marketing.
Yeah,
that's very true. If I can piggyback on that just a little bit, is I think that if I can ask myself what I would have done is take constructive criticism from someone that's constructed something. You can't take constructive criticism from someone who hasn't constructed something, because it's just them just giving their 2 cents on the sensationalism of what they think happens. I think another thing is that, like you mentioned, getting a coach or getting a mentor is so key, because we want our family members to give us that support and that guidance. But it's okay to go and hire someone or to barter with someone so you can get what you need, because you do need that in order to be successful. So I think that that's very key as well. I think you said you hit the nail on the head on a couple of things.
You know, and talking about our family members, we want our family members to be there. Guys, one of the biggest things I hear from my clients is that my husband doesn't get it, my wife doesn't get it, my sister doesn't get it. Well, guess what? Let your family be your family. Right. The vision that you have is not for them to get, it's for you. And so that means you're going to have to invest oftentimes in a support system, in a support community, in a support network.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. And so stay with us, ask any questions, and we'll try to respond. We'll be right back.
Yay.
Uncle Dan? Mom? Dad? If you store your guns properly, so not just anyone can get to them, I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
Safer when my friends come over.
As your neighbor, I'll feel safer. As a school teacher, I'll feel safer.
We'll all feel safer.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is what legends are made of. This is what legends are made of.
As long as I see that fire in your eyes, I know we still good.
I do it off of that love.
We built this family, and this family's strong.
On Fox. Hey, Teddy, why is investing important?
Most people have goals that they're trying to reach in life that has something to do with growing their assets. That's a problem that we have in our community, because we don't take enough risk to actually grow our assets to meet our expectations.
So how does Parish Capital help me?
I see myself as a world-class investor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm here to bring a transparent, low-fee strategy so people understand what they're getting into when they invest. $1 today is not worth the same as $1 tomorrow. You can go to my website at parishcapital.com or call us at 800-618-1940.
Invest your money.
Ignore the noise, stay focused, and prosperity be unto you.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Welcome back to the Live Exchange. I'm Dr. Pamela, and we are talking about behind the veil, behind, all of that. What is it really like to be an entrepreneur, and what does it really take? And I have to respond. I see LaShawn Barnes had posted a comment with regards to our conversation about the shock and the response of I can't even say his name, but that guy being elected. I don't think people. She says I don't think that people are surprised that racism exists. I think that people like myself are surprised that Trump was elected and that he is an outright racist and misogynist. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised.
I'm not surprised either.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think if I can speak to that, I think, you know, fantasy is what we want, but reality is what we need. And so under the 8 years of President Obama's administration, we had the fantasy of the equality. We had the illusion of inclusion. That's kind of what, you know, we've had. But it's very important to know, and I'm not saying that we are slaves. When I say this, I have to preface it, but Harriet Tubman said that she would have, when asked, how was she able to free so many slaves? She said that she would have been able to free almost double, if they had already knew that they were slaves. So that being said, I'm not saying that we're slaves by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, we are in the land of the free, the home of the brave. Our commander-in-chief does not determine the paycheck that we have. You know, I'm very grateful that you know, my business is doing extremely well. Before I woke up this morning, I had my account went out. I got chimed a few times that I was getting paid. So it has absolutely nothing to do with who our commander-in-chief is. However, I think it's the way we make it makes us feel. Yes. I think that is I think that's the biggest damage is what's happening. So for what the gentleman had mentioned, or the young lady, I apologize, forgive me, I can't see that far. Okay. But what the young lady had mentioned, I think, is that it's the biggest reality check that we need, and we cannot. I know it's pop culture, but we have to stay woke. We have to be awake. Yes. It's very true. I mean, there's truth to power to that, because when you are awake and you are aware, now you can produce and you can prepare to become better than what you were. And I think that's one of the best things about Trump being elected is it's no longer covert. It's very apparent.
We know what we're fighting against.
Yes, we know what we're fighting against. And we have the power to overcome it.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. So now, I just want to give you both the opportunity to tell us a little bit about your journey, you know, what you do, and how you came to do what it is you're doing.
Ladies first.
Well, you know, I started my business officially 10 years ago, 2006. But I've always had the entrepreneur bug. I always knew from maybe the time I was in college, I would be a consultant before I even knew what a consultant was. And so for me, every job I had, my career was all about preparing for that. That had always been my mindset. And so I do little jobs on the side. I do consulting projects on the side until in 2006, I decided to, hey, let me hang my shingle, my website. Let me set my website up and get some business. Many people don't know this, but the Resurgent group started out as a concierge business for professionals. Okay. Because I was working for the state at the time, doing a lot of traveling, coming back to a lot of crap. And so I was like, surely if I'm coming back a traveling professional to a lot of stuff that's undone, other traveling professionals need it as well.
Oh, that's great.
And so 2 years after that, finished my doctorate and had gone off to work on a project, left state government, went to work on a project, and the project was about 10 months, my first consulting gig with Lowe, and came back and decided, okay, I've really been bitten by the consulting bug. Now it's time to do this for real.
Right.
And so reorganized the website, made it more of a consulting field. And I tell folks I built my business on low-hanging fruit because I'd worked for the state for so long, because I'd established relationships. So those of you who are listening who are in the workplace, take note of this if you want to start a business. I built relationships. I had an amazing character, background. People knew they could depend on me. So my business was helping those folks that I helped when I was in the state office. And so I was a consultant to them. I went out and helped them stay out of trouble with Medicaid. And so that's how I started, really started my business. And it's grown and developed to so many different branches from there.
Right. Wow.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, my name is Edine Cole. and I own Dean Cole Financial. We are a consulting firm, and we specialize in working capital, alternative finance, and business credit development. And so my journey of entrepreneurship has been, like you mentioned, for years, extremely long amount of time. However, I wasn't a full-time entrepreneur that entire time. What gave me the unction to do so was I've always been in finance. And so I've always been in either the mortgage industry or working for prominent banks, large Fortune 50 corporations. And I was in the underwriting department and in the lending department, so I knew the rules to get people approved because it was my job. However, because I was bound by the Fair Credit Lending Act, I could not share it. So what happened was I had a reality check at one time, is that I was getting this young guy called in for had a cleaning company. He called in to get approved for a loan, and it was two things that was stopping him from getting approved, and we could not approve him. Young African-American guy. At the exact same time, a Caucasian woman called in, and she worked for a company that was a consulting firm. She's the only person in the company that spoke English. Everybody else spoke Vietnamese. And so she called in because things were set up the proper way. There was one small thing that she needed to change that we were able to tell her, and we got her approved for $40,000 right then and there. And so that's when I said, well, what's the difference between these two people? Is just the knowledge. So that gave me the courage to write my book. I wrote my first book, How to Start a Business, Even If You Have Bad Credit, No Pet Credit, and with no personal guarantee. It became a #1 bestseller within the first month. I was very excited about that. And that's what gave me the courage to say, okay, people really need this information. And our consulting firm, we are partnered with 150 different lenders. We have contracts with 150 different lenders. And we're at a 98% approval rate for funding and loans.
Wow, that's
the reason
impressive.
why is because we know the guidelines and we educate people on what they need to get so we can get them approved. And a no doesn't mean no forever. It just means not now. And so if you apply now, 2 months down the road, you can apply again and get the funding that you need.
Wow, that's and and I want to come back to that quote that a no is not. Say that again.
What was that?
A no is not necessarily
No doesn't mean not ever. It just might mean not now.
Not now. That's really good. That's really important. And we're going to come back to that. I want to first get into Love Notes.
Love Notes with Dr. Pamela.
Okay, so today's love note comes from Loren, and she says, Dear Dr. Pamela, I am a coordinator for diversity initiatives at a college campus. I love my job and honestly have never even considered entrepreneurship. I don't think it's for me, but I am concerned about what's happening on our college campuses in terms of budget cuts and in our country politically. I am beginning to wonder if it's necessary that I consider something on the side, and if so, how do I figure out what that should be? That's by Loren. You're nodding, so go ahead. Go first.
Well, Loren should come and talk to me because that's what I help people do. I help people find what lane they should be in and help them really to execute in 90 days or less. You know, because we spend so much time just kind of sitting on the fence. And so it's like once you figure out what it is, you just got to jump in there and do it. So I think Loren should definitely get something on the side. You know, and I will say entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
I'm so glad
and
you said
so,
that.
you know, we've got entrepreneurs, we've got entrepreneurs, people who love their jobs. They have and that's okay. I don't think we talk enough about that.
Right.
And then parallelpreneurs, people who have a job and a business on the side. And so she can take those same skills of what she does in the college environment or wherever she works.
Diversity initiatives. Yeah. Oh, God, that's needed in the world.
And create something amazing to have on the side. Because I do believe whether it's, you know, whatever it is, if it's consulting, car washing, or selling Mary Kay, you need to have your little gig on the side.
Yeah. I'm of the same belief.
Yeah, I think I'm so glad you said that because everything isn't for everybody.
Yes.
And in our pop culture, we actually have a iconoclastic view on entrepreneurship. What we do is we sensationalize being an entrepreneur, but the realities of it, everybody doesn't have the stomach for it.
No.
And I always tell people when someone wants to come to me and they say, I want to start a business, all right, I ask them, what are you passionate about? Because it's going to take passion for you to continue to do this. When cotton and corn doesn't sell, you still need to have something that's going to allow you to continue to go for it. So that being said, my advice to the young lady would be based on where she does, to do like you mentioned, to have a quote-unquote hustle on the side, or to have a job on the side. I have 3 books that are about to be released in the next 4 months.
We're going to have to post those. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, thank you, yeah. I'll come back to talk about it. The third installation is called Do Your Work and Mind Your Business. And that is about, it's about being able to balance a successful career and being able to grow a successful business.
That's
because
a parapreneur?
Parallelpreneur.
Okay,
that's good. Yeah, so a parallelpreneur. And it's because that was me for out of the 15 years of my journey of an entrepreneur, that was me for about 7 of those years, so a good half of that amount of time. So that being said, we need that. Education is what empowers us. So that being said, based just as some free advice for her would be to, if she loves her job, based on what she does, I would suggest that she starts a 501c3 nonprofit, because by her being able to start a 501c3 nonprofit, it allows her to pursue her passions, but she needs to get a good grant writer so that she can have her regular job, her regular 9-to-5 job, so that the grant writer can help to build it. Because as a nonprofit, it's more service driven. When you are an entrepreneur, it's more tangible. It's things that you're either selling or producing. But as a nonprofit executive director, it's more healing the needs based on what her position is with the school. Okay. So that's what my advice would be for her, to look into that and get 501c3 certified, get funding and grants, and grow from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you use those skills that she uses right there
yes.
on the college campus, like you said, and take that out into the world.
Yeah, and one thing that you said I think is very true when you were talking about being an entrepreneur and growing your business with the relationships you had at your job, is that the #1 best-selling book of all time says that you have to be faithful over that which is someone else's before you become ruler of your own. And so we cannot skip over that. That's very key and vital when it comes to being able to define yourself as a CEO or executive director in her case.
Right. Well, who would you say, I mean, I think we all agree that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. How does one know if entrepreneurship is not for them? What makes it not for somebody?
Some people enjoy camaraderie so much so. Some people enjoy the cause so much so. Some people take enjoyment and fulfillment of seeing other people successful, and that's okay. God created us that way because the entrepreneurs need those type of people that are entrepreneurs. So my advice is your passion is your passion building something, or is your passion seeing someone successful? That's what it really boils down to. So if, like in ministry and church, there's so many people, the gift of helps is so underrated, and it's a huge necessity in ministry. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people who are in those positions, they want something more, but they just don't have the thing to become an entrepreneur. So that's what makes me bring that to the forefront. But I think that would be my biggest advice. You have to ask yourself, because some people love going to their job. Some people just enjoy, and that's one of the and that's okay.
And that is
that's definitely okay.
That's so okay. I would say that if you and this is a skill set, if you crack and break from failure, then being an entrepreneur may not be for you. Because you're going to fail. You're going to fail in your job, but I don't think if you fail in your job, it crushes you as much because unless you're fired. Right. It doesn't crush you so much because you're still going to get that check. Right. But in your business, and as a business owner, you're going to have several failures because you're researching. Everything is about research, and if it works, you're like, okay, that works. Let's do that again. And if it doesn't, you could be without thousands of dollars. Right. And so you've got to be willing to fail, and then get yourself back up, dry your tears, drink your coffee, and keep moving. And say, you know what? This is what I was born to do. It can't be something that you play around with because that's a hobby. Right. And so it's got to be something that you don't mind staying up 3-4 o'clock in the morning working on a proposal. You don't mind hey, it's the weekend, not for entrepreneur. I'm working on these grants. I'm working on this stuff.
It's 12 a.m.
My weekend is on Wednesday.
Mine's on Monday.
If you have to have that, if you live for Friday, and it's okay. Again, entrepreneurship may not be for you.
Yeah,
If you can't just get in there and just really put in your heart and your soul to your child, because your business becomes your child.
Yeah. Very true.
Then it may not be for you. And I was just starting out as a parallelpreneur, or yeah,
and that might be a good way to start. And then if it works, branch out. Expand. But we're going to come back. I see. Yes, Jay Marie, we will post all the titles of his book as well as Dr. Taunya's book. So just stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, you'll see what happens. Sensation Station Network.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. We are at the top of the second hour. That goes so fast. Doesn't it go fast?
It goes really fast.
We are talking about the behind the glam and glory of entrepreneurship. So as I've said before, behind the glam and glory, there are ugly tears. There is self-doubt at times. There's fear, but there is also strength, power, and purpose, and it's this combination that enables us to rise to the top. So I have two amazing guests, two entrepreneurial experts, Dr. Taunya Lowe of the Riot Starter Nation and the Resurgent Group of Metro Atlanta, and Mr. E. Dean Cole of Dean Cole Financial. And so we're talking about how to overcome obstacles, how to even identify whether or not entrepreneurship is a good match, good fit for us, as well as looking at this in front of the backdrop of what's going on in our nation and how we can benefit from becoming entrepreneurs. One thing that we just talked about, we had a letter that came in from a young lady who was, I'm assuming young, I don't know, she may not be young, but she wanted to know, should I be considering entrepreneurship? And I just showed my students, I teach higher ed at well, you don't have to know where I teach, but I teach higher ed, but there was a film that we watched, and there was a professor. They were just talking about the state of being a faculty member and a professor, and it was actually pretty bleak. It didn't look very encouraging. My situation is pretty good. This particular professor works at 9 different universities, part-time, as an adjunct, and he's working at these 9 different universities to kind of pull together one salary of $30,000. And so, and in the interview, he's saying, and y'all, this is not common. I'm using him as an example. But in this interview, he's saying that I have been at the bottom of the barrel, $30,000 for this field, bottom of the barrel for the last, 30 years. So to me, I'm screaming in my head as we're watching this, he's got a specialty. He's been teaching for 30 years. He specializes in something. Why can't he just do the entrepreneurial thing? Teach a couple of classes, but my God, in 30 years, build something. And I don't know if I'm just being overly judgmental, but I mean, when you see something like that, and we've seen people work their tails off for years in something that's not really reaping them a whole lot of benefit. But you're specializing in something if you've done it for so long.
I think I wouldn't say that you're being overly judgmental. I think perception is reality. It's not just the perception of what you appear, but it's your perception becomes your reality. So you are looking at the situation from your eyes as an entrepreneur, whereas he might be looking at the situation on he takes enjoyment out of what it is that he does. Those type of people that are very philanthropic, I suggest start a nonprofit. There's so much free money that's out there that's just sitting and waiting, and they keep sending it to the same people because the same people know how to go get it. Yes,
but you got to learn how to get it the right way.
The right way, yes, yes. So that being said, I think that to kind of piggyback on what you said, Doctor, is that if you could do it for free. One of the things that helped me define what it was that I love to do, because I was similar to him. I had the specialty of being in banking and finance for over a decade and some change. And how could I take that knowledge that I had and also combine it with my desire to be quote unquote a free man. And I say that is because one of the books that helped me tremendously was The Richest Man in Babylon. Have you ever read?
Yes,
oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite books. I once upon a time when I was doing mortgages, I used to give them as gifts to clients when they would purchase their house. Great book. And in The Richest Man in Babylon, there is a section where it talks about paying off your debts. And the person got sold into slavery because he couldn't pay his debts. And the wife of the person he was sold to asked him, he said, do you have the soul of a free man or do you have the soul of a slave? Because he kept saying, I'm a free man, I shouldn't be here, I'm a free man. And so then she said, well, do you have the soul of a free man or do you have the soul of a slave? And he came to himself and he got what he needed to do to pay off all his debts and to go back in. But like I mentioned, this was great book. Watch it. I mean, read it. The Richest Man in Babylon.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
Great book.
Okay. Well, we're going to go to break, and then when we come back, we're going to look at some trending topics.
Great leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
JBT 700 Miami Circle 30324. It's not a chain, it's a chain reaction.
Invest $49 a month at a real gym.
For more info, go to facebook.com/Jeans Body Tech.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. Football stadium. I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Primary election. Lack of diversity. Gas prices.
Michael Jackson. Trending topics.
All right. So our trending topics, we talked about, obviously, we have the election and we have that Donald Trump won. But the other thing is, there's been a lot of talk about who voted for what and how dare you vote for that party and why did you do this and why did you do that, and a lot of blaming and finger pointing. And among these things I've heard, well, black folks don't get out and vote and they don't do this and they don't do that. But, the reality is that this is actually a record turnout voter year, if I said this correctly. But this is actually the highest turnout that we've ever had for an election. And according to the Business Insider, more than 46 million people had already voted before Election Day, breaking early voting records. And it also fueled Democrats' confidence in clinching the presidency. And so when people say, oh, well, these people didn't come out to vote and they still don't believe in this and that. No, actually, a lot of people came out to vote. And I think that what surprised us is who came out to vote and for whom. And we really didn't expect that. But so that is one thing is I think that it's very important for us to have our facts straight. And when we analyze a situation and why a situation happened, if we look at it, by assumption or what we think, or, oh, these lazy people, and I've heard so much of that. Oh, everybody wants to complain, but they didn't come out to vote. Why are people out protesting and they didn't vote? And I'm like, well, what makes you think that people who are protesting didn't vote? I mean, where are you getting your facts from? And so it's really important to make sure that we are really speaking the truth based on some actual information. So,
Dr. Pamela, when I look at the map, when I look at the map of the voter map, if I'm saying that right.
Right.
When I look at the voter map and I see it's all red, I see that our country, regardless of our president-elect's character flaws, they wanted something different. And and I don't know what they want.
They wanted a white man.
But they wanted something different.
They wanted a white man above
and
all.
And
so
when you look at the map, you see that's where we are in America this time.
Well, yeah, and I really love. I was gonna say Dean Cole.
I love you too.
Yes. Van Jones. Van Jones. Yes. Oh, that would be my husband if he wasn't already married. But no, I'm kidding. But I'm not. But that his analysis is so always so compelling and so it's emotional, but it's intellectual and it's really well thought out. And one of the most compelling things that he said yesterday is that we just have to be frank that that this was a response of people who are afraid, who see that this is the end of the white supremacy that we've seen over the years. And so, and this is not to point fingers and all of that to, because I know there's plenty of white people who are angry about the results and who are really frustrated. But what this is the beginning of the end of white supremacy as we know it. And there's a fear of that. And the way that he articulated it is this is the last final push to keep things the way that they are. The establishment. And so, while he may have won the presidency, I agree with Van Jones that there is so many people who are pushing for change across so many different demographics that this isn't going to last, and that fall is going to happen in time where the establishment is not going to look like it always has. So
I think the election was a twofold because I voted Republican at first. And then I voted Democrat second. And let me explain that because I had a very heated debate with my brother. He was like, how in the world would you vote Republican? And I told him, I said, I'm not voting for Republican. I'm voting against Donald Trump. So who I voted for in the pre-election before.
Strategy.
Yeah, that was a strategy because I knew this was going to happen.
Okay.
So Tiger, I told you this was going to happen. He said, oh, no. He was like, oh, we want Hillary to run against Trump. I said, no, we do not. I said, do you realize what would happen if he run? Yeah. So I actually voted for Cruz. I believe that's who it was because I was voting against Trump because I knew regardless who the Democratic candidate was, we need to get Trump. So my goal was to get him early. And if we couldn't get him early, then okay, then I voted for Hillary second. So I said all of that to say I think that, because.
Well, let's see. Here's the thing. That's strategy is the key word right there. So, and so even in light of what's happened, we need to strategize and strategize collectively. So if we had strategized collectively to say we're all going to vote Republican and we're going to vote against this Trump. Dude, first of all, there would have been a lot about like, what are you thinking? Why would you do that? But it makes a lot of sense based on what you just said. But in terms of what you said about, we have a businessman as a president. Let's strategize and learn or get really literate about how businesses work and what this man plans to do with businesses and align ourselves to reap the benefits of whatever he plans to do for businesses. And if we can collectively consider, come together and say, this is what we're going to do. And this is what, both of you do for a living is help people build their businesses. And I think that if that can be part of this strategy in along with the protests that are happening, this is the thing that's really going to mobilize us. I appreciate the protesting because it gives voice. We see, okay, there's a problem. But what we need to do also, along with that is, okay, now how can we benefit from every single thing that the government offers that other people are benefiting from that we don't even know is there?
It's very true. And you said that I do live webinars in a private group that's called the Black Owned Business Portal. It's around 180,000, I think, Black owned businesses, and it's a private group. You can only be in the group if you are a African American business owner or you support the business. And so, in the last webinar that I did, I talked about that, because there was it's a fable or a myth that we were supposed to get 40 acres and a mule for our reparations.
Right.
And so
that just came up again this week.
Did it really? Yeah. So, granted, we did not get the 40 acres and the mule. However, if you are a African American and you're not a minority business enterprise, if you're not certified as that, or if you're not a woman business enterprise and you're not certified as that, if you are in the road and construction industry and you're not certified as a disadvantaged business enterprise, you are leaving the money on the table because there's 20% market share specifically for minority business enterprises. So every single woman that sells waist trainers, or they do private label makeup, or they're selling Bath and Body Works, or whatever it is that they're selling, that they're actually either not drop shipping, but private labeling, that is theirs, they have creative rights to. There's 20% market share available. But what happens is that African Americans don't do that, and Caucasians, what they'll do is they'll have their wife be 51% ownership of the business. They'll be 49%, and now it's considered a woman-owned business.
Right.
And so
that's what I'm talking about, y'all. We have to be knowledgeable.
Yeah, so you have to educate yourself and empower yourself, and so that being said, I believe what you just mentioned is extremely true.
Yeah, and that's, there's so much that we don't know, and so much that we're not taking advantage of. And when we sit back and we say, well, look at what they're doing, or, well, if Donald Trump, or the fact that Donald Trump got elected, he's probably going to get rid of the minority organization business things. But, I hear so much probably, and this might happen.
So Dr. Pam, that's why people need to stop sitting around pontificating and get busy.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
That's why they need a consultant or a coach to direct their efforts.
Right.
That's why you need to, if you're going to start a business, then, hey, learn how to get there sooner, quicker, faster, so you're not wasting time. If you're going to be a consultant, if you want to learn how to serve people, find someone that is doing it and start putting those things in action. We sit around, and for 4 years we'll be sitting around and we will not have done anything, just like for 8 years.
Right.
Most of the folks who are talking about, oh my God, the sky is falling, you've not done anything for 8 years, and you're not about to do anything now.
Right.
So if you are, and I'm serious, I'm so serious about this. We get so all up in arms, but we don't take action. You know why we don't take action? Because we think everything is supposed to be free. It is not. We think that, I want you to mentor me. Mentorship costs now. You're not 12 years old, okay? And all this money that I put into developing me so that I could help my clients, no, there's a cost to knowledge.
Yeah.
And so you can take the long road and take 20 years getting there, or you can work with a consultant like myself or Dean to help you get there. And I'll go ahead and say this. You're going to need many coaches and consultants along the way. That specialize in different things.
Well, I hate to cut you off, but we got to go to break. Come right back.
I was going to say that.
That was good.
Leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He guides us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda. That's $10,012. Please drive around.
10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hey, Teddy, why is investing important?
Most people have goals that they're trying to reach in life that has something to do with growing their assets. That's a problem that we have in our community because we don't take enough risk to actually grow our assets to meet our expectations.
So how does Parish Capital help me?
I see myself as a world-class investor. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm here to bring a transparent, low-fee strategy so people understand what they're getting into when they invest. $1 today is not worth the same as $1 tomorrow. You can go to my website at parishcapital.com or call us at 800-618-1940.
Invest your mind.
Ignore the noise, stay focused, and prosperity be unto you.
In the interest of science.
All right, so the science that we're going to talk about is, it's interesting, and y'all can call it, it's more like literary science, okay? How many of you have heard, like I'm in class and you're going to raise your hand, right? Well, there is this, it's more of a literary term, but it's called the hero's journey. I'm sure both of you have heard of it. Yeah. You haven't heard of it?
Journey. No, tell me.
Okay, so the hero's journey, now there are different versions of it, and so I'm only going to give you the most recent by Christopher Vogler, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but this was as of 2007. The earliest one was 1949, and what it really does is well, you know what? I'll say it's a pattern that's closely followed in many of the world's spiritual narratives, in shamanism, initiation rites, and mystery religions, and in the mythologies of the world. And so basically it's like a format for how the hero's story is told. And with almost every story that you look at, it kind of follows this format. And the reason why I'm talking about or want to introduce the hero's journey to everyone is because to me the hero's journey is very similar to the entrepreneurial journey. And so I'm going to give you Christopher Vogler's version because Campbell, the original, has 17 steps, and that's a lot. So if you want to look it up, check it out. And its steps are pretty awesome. And if you Google the hero's journey, and look at images, there's charts and all kinds of stuff. So the first one for Christopher Vogler is the ordinary world. So where you are, where you start off, the familiar place that you're in. Number 2 is the call to adventure. So you have some kind of call or some kind of pulling inside of you that I need to do something more. And it might be in response to a problem or in response to something that you're seeing or just an innate need that you have. Number 3 is refusal of the call. So at some point you're like, you resist it, you may stall, you may, ignore it, put it to the side for a while, and but for many there's like this refusal of the call, like, no, I'm not going there. No, I don't want to start my business, or no, I don't know that I necessarily had that with my businesses because I'm one of those, I'm going to jump right in with my eyes closed, and but a lot of people do experience this. Meeting with the mentor. So you've the mentor may have pulled you, or you may have called them, but at some point somebody may recognize this in you and say, you know what, this is what you should be doing, or you recognize it in yourself and you have a conversation with somebody about, so here's what I want to do. Number 5 is crossing the threshold to the special world. So you have decided to take the step and venture into this entrepreneurial journey. Number 6, once you've taken that step, what happens? The tests. And the tests happen, the trials happen, the challenges come forth. People think that they step into the realm of entrepreneurship and it is about to be awesome, and I'm about to make a lot of money, and I'm about to be famous, or I'm going to be the speaker that goes all around the world. Well, a lot of times before that happens, you have your tests. And also included in that is allies and enemies. So you start to realize who's on your team and who's not. Number 7, approach the innermost cave. So this is explained differently in all three. If you were able to see the parallel in Leeming's theory, it's death. In another theory, it's the woman as the temptress. So it's basically that period of time where you're starting to question, why am I doing what I'm doing? It's that dark place. It's that place where where all these things that I read, people aren't willing to pay you your worth, and you start questioning. And so the ordeal is that situation where you are you're coming out of it. You're realizing where you are. You're moving forward. I'm kind of rushing through this because I want to make sure we get through all of it. The reward is you've stepped out of the cave. You've reasoned with why you're doing what you're doing, and you start to reap some benefits. It may not be that you're a millionaire all of a sudden. It may be that you're starting to get the flow of things. The road back, the resurrection, and the return with the elixir. So the road back is getting back to that place where you're thriving, you feel good about yourself, you're in a familiar place, but it's a new familiar place because it's now as an entrepreneur. The resurrection is, I'm sorry. The road back is where you kind of fall back. It's a what do you call it, backslide, and then the resurrection is where you're coming back, and then the return with the elixir means that you've got your product, you've got your business, you're locked in, and you're solid. So in so many words, this is kind of the pattern of the hero's journey. So if you look at it visually, you're in a level field, you rise up, you fall, and then you rise back up again, and so it's a pattern that occurs. So we have to go to break. We'll be right back.
And so a new American industry has been born.
Sensation Station Network.
Marie Callender's knows that you may not have time to roll out dough for a perfectly flaky crust that's made from scratch, or enough time to mix vegetables with all white meat chicken and a homemade gravy. She knows you may not have a moment to crimp the edges of your favorite chicken pot pie, but Marie Callender's does. And when she's done, all you need to do is find time to grab someone special, sit down, and savor. Marie Callender's, it's time to savor.
Adopt U.S. Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies!
I kind of love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
What's up, sis?
Nothing. Just sitting here reading about HIV in Atlanta and its surrounding areas. Did you know we're number 8 in the nation?
I know.
You need to get tested.
Nah, I don't get down like that. I'm good.
But you are a ladies' man. You don't know who they're with when they're not with you.
If I need to get tested, so do you.
No, I don't. I'm married.
True, but you don't know who he's with when he's not with you.
Oh, you got jokes. He's not like that.
Fact is, no one really knows what their partner is doing or who their partner is with when they're away.
Well, I'll get tested if you get tested.
Cool. Where can we go?
This article I'm reading says the Lifeline Project of CSB does free HIV testing. Let's go there.
Lifeline Project, here we come.
The Lifeline Project is a SAMHSA grant. For more information on free testing, please call 770-499-2422 or visit us on the web at www.cobcsb.com.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Deliberate dumbing down.
Dumb down society.
Deliberate dumbing down of America.
Dumb down public. Why would they do this?
Sensation Station Network. Radio, not dumbed down.
All right, welcome back to the live exchange. So I just gave you all the hero's journey, and I would love to give our guests the opportunity to kind of share about that a little bit, if your experience with the hero's journey.
So as we were talking during the break, I can definitely relate to some of the spaces during the hero's journey, and the first one that stuck out as you were talking was test allies and enemies. And one of the things that you're going to learn as an entrepreneur is who's on your team and who's not on your team.
Yes.
And when you realize that, you need to bounce back quick. You need to be a rubber ball. It's going to hurt. You're going to feel the sting. But again, that's why it's so important to build a community, because when we start our businesses, and especially in nonprofits, we start with mama, daddy, sister, cousin, and those people don't have, they want us to do well, but they don't have the passion that we have about our businesses, and no one is going to take care of your business like you, or someone who has a mindset like you.
Right.
And so I learned some stuff about folks along the way, and it was painful, but what it did was it made me look for a community of people who were not the same people I was seeing every day, the same people that's going to the same networking meetings. It pushed me into a new network.
Right.
And I got into that network when we got into, then when you went on and you talked about the cave, just a few years ago, almost 4 years ago, I lost $32,700 and something $1,000 in my business. And to a small business, that could capsize you.
Yeah.
That could capsize you. And so, I struggled with, how did I let that happen? I'm a loser as a business person. I mean, I went into the cave and didn't want to talk about it. And it wasn't until, because I got into a community, that I was able to talk about it with my coach. But getting into that community cost me money.
Yeah.
And so, it cost me about $8,000. So people are like, wow, you lost $30,000 and then you invested $8,000 in the program. You got to know where you want to go.
Right.
And I knew that I wanted to go. I was destined to go. I'm born to go to a higher level. And so that's when I got involved with the Maxwell team. That helped me elevate my movement to the next level. And so what I learned from that is that, when I tell people you want to get there sooner, quicker, faster, you can't do it by yourself. And up until that point, I was doing it by myself. I was doing it based on what I know. And we don't know what we don't know. And I promise you, what you don't know, sometimes you got to pay for it.
That's true. It's very true. What you said, it's so funny. I love trap music. Trap music is some of the most motivating music there is. Listen to me. I love trap music. And there is a song, one of my new favorite songs right now is by a guy named Day Day. And it's called Spend It. And the hook says, spend it, check, and get it right back.
That's probably
and so that's very true. The whole time. Spend it, check, and get it right back. You got to check it out. That's one of my favorite trap songs right now. And but what you said is very true. And what you mentioned about the journey of entrepreneurship, I think one of the things that we were talking about during the break is that that mentorship. Like, I understand, I know without a shadow of a doubt, without any equivocations, the success I have now is because of the people that God connected me with. That's very true. And so, but I'm faced with a dilemma because I know that. I hate to turn people away, because my business model is I get paid from the lenders. I get paid from the banks. So when the banks fund my clients, so yesterday I had a dentist funded. I think I posted it too.
I saw that, yes.
You saw that, yeah. So I had a dentist get funded. She got funded. She got approved for her working capital loan, got funded, and then I got my check in sequencing, just like that. So that's what I do. And I think in the post, she said, so what's next? And then I said, okay, well, you should go through our coaching program, because our coaching program is set aside specifically for the people who just cannot get funding now. So what it does is, we walk you through step by step the process of establishing your business credibly into the eyes of the lenders, and establishing your business to where now you're lendable to the eyes of the underwriters. So our coaching program is a 4-month course. It starts November 21st. And originally, because it's something new, this isn't my answer to how can I help people and not waste my time. Because everybody can't afford $150 an hour, because that's what it costs to hire me as a consultant, $150 an hour. And so everybody can't afford that. So what I did was I came out with a course. It's only $50 per month. All right, and it's $50 a month for 12 months, not for 4 months. So the reason why we break it up for 12 months is for two reasons. One, it allows it to be affordable to people so they can be action-oriented. If you can't invest $50 in yourself, I can't invest $150 into you. Listen to me, because that's what my time is worth per hour. So that, and also we break it down over 12 months so it can be affordable, and also, too, because it helps build your business credit. So in the program, you're guaranteed to have at least $20,000 in business credit in 4 months, or you get a full refund of your investment. So that's what my coaching program does, because it allows me to be able to help people, coach them, because it's an online course. It's not go at your own pace. It's go at my pace, because that's what makes the money-back guarantee. As long as you do everything you're supposed to do in time, then your money-back guarantee is valid. There's actually a Caucasian gentleman on my website who gave us a testimonial. It took him 6 months to build his business credit, but he violated his money-back guarantee, and he talks about it in the testimony, but he still gave it to us because he got $50,000 in business credit. That's not associated with your personal credit. And so that's what we specialize in. And so that being said, I definitely understand you want to get a mentor. You want to get, and people ask me all the time, like so many people say, "Oh, can I be a mentor?" And I'm like, I'm not really looking for proteges right now, but I feel bad. I feel like a jerk sometimes because I know that people need that, and so that's why I created the program. Originally, it was only something we did in-house for clients who got turned down. The most amount of people we ever coached at one time was around 10 people. But then when God pushed it on my heart and I opened it up, we had 20 people enroll in 3 days. And now we have 60 people enrolled into the program. And classes haven't even started yet. The course starts November 21st. So I'm excited about that. And I want to try to find a way to make it open all the time instead of breaking it up. Because, matter of fact, you were at, remember, the business credit boot camp that I did was something that I did for free. It was a, how was it, an hour intensive, where I walked through the process of being able to build. And so people were like, "Oh, I want to get enrolled." And I was like, "We're not accepting anybody right now." Do you remember that?
I do,
And so we opened that back up again, and God pushed it on me so where I had to hire 4 new virtual assistants just so that I can fulfill the demand of what it takes. And the $50 a month really basically just goes to pay them because, like I said, I get paid when the lenders pay you guys. That's how I get my money, and that's where I spend my energy and time because that's just kind of what it takes.
It's a pretty smart model.
I'd love to see you turn that model into a product.
Well, it is a product.
No, a more intensified product. So.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to hire you as my consultant. Listen to me. I'm going to hire you as my consultant.
I'm like, no. That is that's a product that we can take to another whole level. So, you know.
So lunch on me.
Okay. All
right. We got business
I don't work for chicken sandwiches, D.
Okay. What about chicken sandwiches and some soup?
All right, we are going to get into this week's Balance Challenge.
Keeping your balance with Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela. Dr. Pamela.
All right, so I issued the Balance Challenge in the first hour, and I'm going to give it to you again. And that is to choose one small move that you can make this week to advance your dream. I want you to take a step forward. So we are asking you to move from being in the ordinary world. This is your call to adventure. So we are asking you to move forward. So the big picture may seem to be overwhelming at times, but when we pull back and consider that one small thing that we can do, we can be amazed by the impact that one small thing can have on our confidence, the growth of our business, and even the connections we make. And those are also important. If your confidence goes up, you're much more willing to take steps forward to do other things. So let's get it started. And then some ideas, come up with a service that you can offer, $25, 15-minute consultation, post something for sale, do a blog or a weekly post. The beauty of social media is that so much is at our fingertips. We have so much control over what comes in and out, and
build your community.
Yes,
start finding your tribe.
Yes, and I have to say, I have to say this. I have two Facebook. I have a bunch of Facebook pages, but like I have two that are like my. So the one that is showing the Facebook Live now, like I just hit 5,000. I'm like, yeah. And so my other page has, it hasn't quite met 5,000, but so I'm like, okay, so do I roll over into another page? What do I do? But for me, that was intentional. It's deliberate, and these are real people, and these are people who are engaged and they're interested, and so those are the things that I'm so grateful for. So what can you do to advance your own business, via social media? And do you have anything to add to that?
For social media,
in
general, like I mentioned before, I love trap music and pop culture is fun. And so there is this colloquialism that's called flexing for the gram. And so what happens is that flexing for the gram is where you post all these things, and you mentioned it before, how you want to get somebody that's ahead of you in real life and not ahead of you in Facebook.
Right.
And so, but the reality is we are conditioned to respond to that type of advertisement. Mm-hmm. So I would suggest a business owner hire. What's your website again? Because I know you have a course on that, right? You have something coming on Saturday.
We're about to go to break, so let's...
Okay, I'm sorry. But basically,
we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it after the break. But yeah.
All right. All right, we'll be right back on the Live Exchange.
Leaders aren't born. They're made, and not just anywhere. They're made in special places by special qualified trainers in places like the Academy of Creative Coaching. The Academy of Creative Coaching is an international certification program with courses in health and wellness coaching, spiritual coaching, relationship coaching, executive coaching, life coaching, and cultural competency coaching. Courses are online, hybrid, or face-to-face. The Academy of Creative Coaching is empowering coaches to empower the world. Make a positive change in yourself and the world. Go to academyofcreativecoaching.com.
Coming to Tampa Bay, I said we want to win a Super Bowl, and I believe we will.
From IamSecond.com.
We came close, but never really did win that championship.
Former NFL head coach Tony Dungy.
At the end of my 6th year, I was fired, and it was one of the biggest disappointments of my life. Next year, I'm in Indianapolis, get to the playoffs, but get knocked out again. And for the next couple of years, it's the same thing. Everyone is saying Colts are never going to win one. And I did wonder, why didn't it pan out the way I thought it would? But I determined that I had to have Christ first, and that everything else came below that, including my own desires. The next year, that ended up being our year to go to the Super Bowl and win it. And it was a wonderful feeling. Every decision I make, I'm going to make it through the lens of Jesus Christ, and He guides us to that ultimate victory. I'm Tony Dungy, and I am second.
Okay, so 5 tacos of cheese and a large soda, that's $10,012. Please drive around.
Wait, 10,000 what?
It's obvious you're buzzed and driving.
I've only had a few. I'm fine.
Yeah, the food's $12, but getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Please drive around. Actually, just park and come in.
Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I am an American soldier.
I'm a warrior and a member of a team.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place this first.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined.
I am disciplined.
Physically and mentally tough.
Trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself.
I am an expert and I am a professional.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the
enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
I am an American soldier.
There's strong, and there's Army strong. See what it takes at GoArmy.com.
Big business. This is the American way.
Station Network.
See ya.
All right, welcome back to the Live Exchange. And for those of you watching us on Facebook, yes, we are networking. We're making things happen behind the scenes. See, So thanks for joining us. If you all have any questions, I'm not giving you the phone number. I know a lot of you are watching from your phones, but I'm going to give you the phone number anyway. It's 678-613-5857 if you want to call in, if you got anything to say, any questions to ask. It's kind of sort of free coaching. They're not going to give you everything, though. They might give you like a little small.
D might.
Yes. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
But the way my service is set up, the way I choose to serve in the world,
you have to pay for that. But there is kind of no, but there. I love to hear just kind of stories of of how you come out of situations. I know that Dr. Taunya talked about being in the cave, and I'm sure you've had a cave situation as well. Mm-hmm. What mentality do you have to have or establish in order to get out of the cave?
I think being in the cave, you have to understand where you are. Mm-hmm. Self-awareness is huge for anything where you want to be. Like if you get lost in the mall, the first thing when you look at a map, it says you are here. Mm-hmm. So you need to know where you are. And if you are in that cave and if you're depressed, you have to understand the 5 stages of grief and go through them. And when you get to the point of acceptance, accept the acceptance. Don't wallow in it. Mm-hmm. When you have the strength to forgive, when you have the strength to move forward, move forward. Mm-hmm. You have to be action-oriented. And so, shameless plug, I have another book.
Hey, plug it off.
That is being released. I have, like I mentioned, I have 3 books that have been released January, February, and March. And what we're trying to do is in February, because the book in February is specifically for Black-owned businesses. It's called Black-owned, How to Unlock Your Finances as a Black-owned Business. That's that book. But because it is just specifically for the Black-owned community, the book that we're toying around with, I'm getting with my editor to see if it'll be ready, is How to Be an Action Hero. How to be action-oriented, how to do that. So that's what, we're toying around with.
This hero's journey.
That's what made me think about it, because I didn't even think about it, because we tabled it. Yeah. But nevertheless, I said all of that to say this, is that if you are there, like we mentioned before, you have to have a mentor. You have to have somebody who sees the greatness in you when you're struggling with the mediocrity of your reality. You have to have somebody that can speak to you and pour yourself out. When I was there, I actually had one of my best friends, one of the most successful people that I know. He actually passed away not too long ago. It hurt me hard. He was one of my best friends, and he was the person who would always speak life into me and always see the greatness that I had when I was still struggling with my mediocrity. I should have. He told me all the time, ice cold is what he would call me. He was like, ice cold, you should have been left that company. You should, because I was doing my business on the side and also doing the company. And he was a very successul attorney. Nicky Bonner was his name. Very successful attorney. From my hometown. And you're from Albany, that's right. And so when I would see Nicky, and I would aspire to be as successful as he was. And ever since I've known Nicky for the many years that I've known him, he always continued to build his own firm. And so by you having people around you like that you can look to and also get inspiration just by them being living epistles, and also who can speak life into you when you're struggling with the mediocrity of you, that is what helps you when you get out of the cave. Yes. And that's going to give you the strength to be action-oriented, to step out there. So
that's wonderful. And, and I can identify with that with my own, and I haven't spoke much about my own company because this is about y'all today. So, but with my own company, the Coaching Academy, it's the Academy of Creative Coaching, and I have the most amazing team of people who, when I did go through a period of experiencing the cave and what's going on with enrollment and, that kind of thing, these people all believe in the dream. They all believe in the vision, and they all collectively grabbed me by the arms and pulled me out of this cave.
That's community. That's community.
In the form of, what do I need to do? I'm going to offer this. I'm, just all offering their gifts, and they all have such a great collection of gifts that together, it's amazing. So surrounding yourself by the right people is so incredibly key.
It is very true. There was also, Sidney Poitier wrote a book, and in the book he said 2 things happen when you jog with somebody. Either you speed up to match their pace, or someone slows down and matches the other. And so that's why it's very key to make sure you are in line with the right people. That's very true. And also, like I mentioned before, I think the #1 best-selling book of motivation of all time says that evil communication corrupts good manner. So you want to make sure.
This is the Bible,
that,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But because
those of you who aren't catching that.
Yeah, but because I speak at schools, I speak at colleges,
Right.
and I speak in corporations. I can't always say the Bible.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when you come to church and
I
you're talking to
understand.
me,
You can talk
listen
about it
to
on
me.
the show.
I can break it down, but
John Maxwell says he learned his best leadership tips from the Bible.
It's true. It's very true.
And it's interesting because all of the motivational books, the thinkers, the what do they call it? The New Age way of thinking are really concepts that are derived from the Bible. And so and this is another entrepreneurial trick or tip, I should say, is learn how to take those values that you have, if they're biblical, and you don't know how to take them to schools, or you can package them the same message in so many different ways.
And you may need a coach for that.
And just use semantics. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah,
Bring
you
it
may
back
need a
to the
coach for
coach.
that.
Yes. Yeah.
Or consultant.
Absolutely.
And I want to say understanding the difference between a coach and a consultant.
And a mentor.
And a
There's
mentor.
difference, yeah.
And mentors today are very different from mentors of when I was in college.
True. Yes.
People today are busy.
Yeah.
So no, you can't come hang out with me for 3 hours and tag along with me. It looks different today. Mentorship.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I just really want people to think about is whether it's a small $50 a month course or $97 a month course or whatever, get into the practice of investing.
Yes.
People, you want something, but people aren't going to pour into you unless they see you make an effort. And the best effort that you can make is by, being willing to pay for the information, being willing to pay for that person's time. Oh, well, I don't have any money. You know what?
You got the money.
We have the money.
You have the money.
We have
you go
the
to
money.
dinner every now and then.
So it's a mindset, and I do a lot of work on mindset. And just like you're in the gym, you're paying for gym memberships you're not using, or you're in the gym every day. We got to work on our mind so that we can really, really have those things that we desire in real life, not Facebook Live.
That's very true.
In real life. Now, can you come back to the difference, if either one of you want to speak to the difference between coaching and consulting?
So a coach, my background is in therapy as well.
Yes.
So, a coach is going to have that, they're going to ask you to go inside and find those answers to what you need.
Right.
You're going to find the answers. And a lot of people misalign the idea of coach with the athletic coach. And so that's not what real coaching is. I know there are a lot of people who say, oh, I'm a coach. You're really a consultant. Because a consultant is going to get in the dirt with you and say, a consultant is going to tell you how to do it. A consultant is going to get in the dirt with you. That's what I do. A coach is not supposed to give you the answer.
Right.
A coach is supposed to help you pull those answers out of you, get you to, what's in you, get you to pull that out.
Right.
And so, and it's so important to know the difference, because some of us need a therapist, some of us need a coach, and some of us need a consultant.
Right.
And all three.
And some of us need all three, okay, on any given day.
Yes,
and then we also need to be, we use the word mentorship. I think mentorship is just like the generic form of coaching. Like, I want you to be my mentor, but I don't want to pay for it. And so when you want someone to mentor you, be really clear and specific about what it is you want from them. Again, people are busy growing their businesses. So what do you want? I tell folks that John Lee Dumas is my mentor in my head. I watch Success Leaves Clues. You don't got to talk to somebody. You don't got to. They're all been coming out. You don't got to talk to somebody every day, every week for them to mentor you. Okay?
Right.
So Success Leaves Clues. So you find somebody. You may not be able to touch them. And I tell folks all the time, I don't have to touch you to help you with your transformation. So I listen to John. That's who helped me when I started my podcast. I'm listening to him. I'm like, okay, I took advantage of his free stuff. And I was like, okay, John can build a $1 million podcast. So can Dr. Taunya Lowe. And I never had to talk to him, never spoke to him. I've never met him.
Right.
And so sometimes, we have to find those people and we have to look at them and say, wow, what are they doing? And let me watch them.
Yes.
Let me watch them. We're so busy wanting I need to be up under you. You don't have to be up under someone to to learn, that those are those small steps. Those are small steps that you can take. Read a book.
Right.
You know, get Dean's book. Read a book. But we've got to change our mindset around. We go and we ask for things and we really don't know what we're asking for.
Right. Oh, that's so good.
I think that's true. Do we have enough time for me to piggyback?
Please.
Okay, because I know the breaks come quick and fast.
I know, don't they?
Yes. So I think what you said is very true. I think people learn differently. Some are visual learners and some are hands-on learners. And I think if the goal is to get the education, if you really want to get the education and get your answers, you can be self-sufficient and read a book and do different things. I think some people mistake their goal. I think one of the things that the biggest reality check I had to have for myself is every female that wants to be a client really don't want to be my client because I'm single. And so it's
okay. And I'm sure we both have experienced the reverse.
Yes, and so it's so funny because I talk to people, I talk to my female colleagues, and I say, I guess this is what you guys go through. I guess because
yes.
I recently had a shift to where I have a lot of things that are going viral. I'm getting a lot of attention right now, and I'm excited about
full, ain't it?
More than full, and I'm excited about it.
You need an inbox for your inbox.
Yes, but it's a good thing, and I don't want to seize it up. I don't want to be ungrateful for the time, but I want to be able to maximize it the proper way. So that being said, is yes, clients hit me up, do all of that. I don't want to push that away. However, it took me to get the second, third level probing questions to understand why you're, reaching out to me if you're a female. And also, we're in Atlanta. It is what it is. Sometimes some men have done the same thing too, and I'm like, no, thank you.
Right.
And so, like, it's about business. So I said all of that to say, I think that what you mentioned is that if you're really serious and you don't want to waste someone's time, I think it irritates the black off my back.
I haven't heard that one before. I like that.
Yeah, when someone is a time vampire. They talk about energy vampires, but also time vampires. Like, there's only maybe 2 or 3 people I'm going to pick up the phone between the hours of 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock.
Right.
There's only maybe 2 or 3 people that have the ability to catch me on the phone because some people are just lackadaisical about their time, and my time is very valuable. And not to be arrogant, but it really is because the time it's taken me to.
Well, that's one of those things about being an entrepreneur. If you cannot manage your time, then you cannot. If you got to pick up the phone every time someone calls, if you got to be on Facebook constantly, then entrepreneurship might not be for you. Time management is
very key.
It's key.
It's extremely
critical.
key. Yes. I think one of the biggest free resource for time management is somebody who's a mentor in my mind, Brian Tracy. He has a book called Eat That Frog. Oh my goodness,
love
it's free.
Brian Tracy.
And he talks about being able to use time management. Time management is key. So I agree 100% when it comes to that too.
I love it. We're getting to the tail end of the show, and I want to make sure that both of you have had the opportunity to say anything that you want to say about your business, anything coming up that you want them to know about, your website, how to reach you.
Ladies first.
Dean is just so gentleman. I know, such a gentleman. So, guys, I've enjoyed today. Thank you, Dr. Pamela. You guys can follow me on all social media, Dr. Taunya Lowe. You can also visit my website, drtaunyalowe.com. We have our 5th annual symposium coming up in February. It's a day with thought leaders. It's the Thought Leader Takeover. And this symposium is designed for entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, as well as parallelpreneurs. And it's a day designed to come in and really help you put something, so you come in empty, but you leave with a plan. Your workbook is a plan. We don't do the bobblehead at my events. You leave with a plan so that you can really put your stuff in action for the rest of the year. And you can go to theriotstarter.com to register for that. And so that's coming up as well. We've got some other, we've got the podcast on all of the major places, so you can find us, the Riot Starter Chat. And we'd love to have you as a listener.
Sounds great. Thank you.
That's good stuff. Well, the best way to get in contact with me is through my website, Dean Cole Financial. It's deancolefinancial.com. The coaching program, if someone's interested, would be deancolefinancial.com/coaching. The things that I basically that are coming up, I'm excited. I'll be in Miami for a television interview that I have December the 15th. So the weekend of that, we're going to have a business credit boot camp in Miami. That's what you came to, the one in Atlanta. So we have that coming. If you're in the Miami area, reach out to me so we can make sure everything is orchestrated the right way. We're going to give out a couple of free vacations to some people who attend. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Also, the biggest thing that I can mention is that if you're really serious, and I say that often, and I say that to people, if you're serious about starting your business, if you're serious about taking your current business to the next level, then you need to enroll into the coaching program. It starts November the 21st. It's $50 a month for 12 months. And you're guaranteed to have at least $20,000 in business credit, or you get a full refund. And the reason why I do that is because it separates the people who are just talking about it and the ones that are being about it. And if you can invest $50 into yourself, then of course I can invest in you, because in the coaching program, it comes with 8 hours of consulting. The way it works is that every Tuesday and Thursday, we do a 2-hour call with everyone who's involved, and we kind of do that one-on-one time, answering their questions, but in the making sure that they're on track. And then we'd have a webinar on Sundays. So I can invest into people who invest in themselves. Yes, and that's what it's about.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, we're at the tail end of the show, and just remember, thank you for tuning into the live exchange, where we exchange compelling dialogue around love, politics, and intellect. Join us next Thursday from 11 to 1, right here on the Sensation Station, where we'll be joined by Mr. Dennis Ross of Mosaic to discuss overcoming the holiday blues. Yes, we're talking love next week. I'm Dr. Pamela, and remember, it's your life. Love it.
Thanks so much.
Sensation Station Network.
Been thinking about the little thing you said.